All right, let's get started. Just a quick disclaimer, the following discussion is provided for general informational purposes only. It doesn't constitute any kind of professional, legal, or financial advice. Any opinions you hear are personal and should always be independently verified before you rely on them or take any action. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into a high-stakes political drama, one that actually exposes a huge puzzle in the Philippine Constitution. The story really kicks off with a breakdown of a very powerful political alliance. You could call it a marriage of convenience that brought a new administration to power. But as public disagreements started to pile up and political loyalties began to shift, this whole alliance started to unravel. And that's what set the stage for a major constitutional crisis. And this political infighting, it doesn't just stay behind closed doors. Nope, it spills out into a shocking, though hypothetical, event, one that pushes the country's legal framework to its absolute limit and really sets the stage for our entire discussion today. So, picture this. It's February 5th, 2025, and the House of Representatives votes to impeach Vice President Sara Duterte. The main allegations are all circling around the misuse of confidential funds. But here's the kicker. The timing is what creates a massive problem. By voting on the very last day before a long recess, the House basically sets off a chain reaction. And this reveals that the Philippine Constitution is completely silent on some really critical parts of the whole impeachment process. So this silence, this gap in the Constitution, creates a high-stakes legal mystery. There are no easy answers, and it forces legal experts to grapple with 5 really fundamental questions. And what's so fascinating here is that these 5 questions, they aren't just for a law school exam. No, they challenge the very foundation of how high officials are held accountable. They expose these huge gaps in the highest law of the land, and it happens at the most critical moment possible. Okay, so let's really dive into this. While all 5 questions are absolutely critical, for this explainer, we're going to focus on 2 of the most pressing ones. These 2 really explore the potential loopholes in the process, resignation and the standard of evidence. So, first things first, could an official just resign? Could they just quit and make the entire impeachment trial just go away and effectively avoid a final judgment?
Well, according to former Senate President Franklin Drilon, the answer is a clear no. And the reason why is pretty fascinating. See, impeachment has 2 possible consequences. First, removal from office, and second, a ban from ever holding public office again. Resigning only takes care of that first one.
And this right here, this quote brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Professor De Vera reinforces that disqualification isn't just a side effect of being removed, it's a completely distinct penalty. And that means the Senate could, in theory, keep the trial going just to decide on that second consequence, to determine if the officials should be barred from public life forever. Okay, so that brings us to the next puzzle, evidence. In a regular court, you've got really clear standards for what it takes to prove a case. But an impeachment trial, that is a unique beast. It's part legal and part political. Think about it. A criminal trial requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the highest standard imaginable. But experts agree that's way too high for impeachment. Impeachment isn't about sending someone to jail. It's about figuring out their fitness for office. It's a political process, not a criminal one. Senator Lito Lapid's famous speech during the 2012 Corona trial highlights the reality of this perfectly. You see, senators act as senator judges, but they're also politicians who represent the people. So the final vote, more often than not, comes down to their individual conscience, not some rigid legal formula. So what does that all mean? It means there is no single, uniform standard. Each senator has to weigh the evidence that's presented and decide for themselves if an official has so profoundly betrayed the public trust that they have to be removed from office. So when the text of the law is silent and all the procedures are unclear, how are we supposed to find our way? Well, legal scholars propose a really powerful guiding principle. It's called an ethical reading. Now, what that means is looking beyond the literal words on the page to the core principles, you could call it the spirit of the law, that define the government's relationship with its people. And in the Philippines, that core ethos, that spirit, is accountability. The Constitution itself, in its very text, declares that public office is a public trust. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it is the foundational promise of the entire system. So therefore, when we're faced with these 5 constitutional riddles, this principle suggests that the interpretation that best upholds accountability, the one that best serves the truth-telling function of an impeachment, that should be the one we choose. And this leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. When the rulebook has missing pages, should we look to the spirit of the game? This really suggests that the ethos of accountability has to be the thing that fills the silence in the law, ensuring that no official is ever beyond its reach, and that the public trust remains the ultimate standard by which everyone is judged. If this discussion was enjoyed by you or valuable information was gained, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with others who might benefit from it. For more updates, in-depth discussions, and the latest content, stay tuned to the channel.